last 10 days away, so this is my first act back work, so I'm a little, I haven't completely rebooted yet, so I hope I can remember all this stuff, because I haven't do this for 10 days. I get distracted greatly. I have a lot of slides, and I'm going to run through them quickly. All of this information is on the Midtown Rising website that you can go look at if you want to look closely at the renderings. I know everybody can't really see the details here, but we have a lot of good renderings about what the Midtown open space will be like. So a quick update. I'm going to start with the kind of development update, and my friend Pat Rogers is over there. He has been really moving on the Pike building for Windstream. It's under construction. The exterior envelope, basically looks done. They got the windows in and everything. It really looks sharp. And this will be done this summer, and we'll have occupancy in July. So the situation at Midtown is about to radically change, because 6 months from now, we're actually going to have office workers located there, and things really happen. There's another rendering for you. The Midtown Tower, our highest priority at this point in terms of Midtown is to get the tower going. Our real goal here is to have the infrastructure underway and completed, and starting its completion next year, Pike and Windstream done next year, and get the Midtown Tower under construction in 2013 as well. If we can accomplish all that, looking back 4 or 5 years ago, having 2 large development projects and all the infrastructure underway or completed would be a really spectacular achievement. The good news with the Midtown Tower is that it's very highly regarded for the regional council. In fact, the governor's in town. That's where Ann Kress is going now, and Jim McIntosh and I will be running over there at 11 to meet the governor over at Midtown as well to talk a little bit about the tower. It's one of the 10 transformational projects, and we expect the announcements for the funding for those projects to happen soon. Maybe December, but it'll happen soon. Once we have that funding, we feel that we can move that project forward. 88 Elm Street is an often forgotten but important presence at Midtown. It's right off the east side of the Midtown redevelopment project. The city owns it. We've completed asbestos abatement, and we put a new roof on it. We're going to make that available for development sometime this fiscal year. It's another good opportunity for renovation of former office space. Quickly, the infrastructure comes in 4 substantial components, as you know: the service tunnel, the underground garage, the new street grid, and the open space. Most of my presentation here is going to be about the open space. And that, again, comes in 4 components as well. We have the plazas, the pedestrian corner that's between the tower and what we call Parcel 2, which is the southwest corner of South Clinton, the streets and sidewalk, and then a temporary uses discussion that's only beginning to happen for the development parcels that aren't going to be under development once the infrastructure is underway, or might not be under development. So just orienting the Windstream building, the Midtown Tower. This entire section of Midtown will be basically new a couple years from now. And the next real thing that you're going to start to see, the tunnel is going to be complete. It's really kind of become enclosed already. It's been under construction. We're going to go out to bid and award contracts for both the streets and a portion of the open space. This portion. The open space is going to be under 2 different contracts because we want to time the open space just south of the Windstream building with the completion of the Windstream building so we can get that going. So we put that in the streets contract. An important distinction to remember, I think we can talk a lot about this during the Paytech to Windstream, let's say, exchange. That this component here on the southeast corner of the Windstream building is the real substantial public access to the garage. If you remember with the Paytech, that was a private entrance. One of the many benefits of the changes that we've had is that that's a real substantial public access to the garage, and it becomes an important kind of collection of pedestrians and activity in Midtown open space. Here's a close-up of the plaza. This has changed changed a little bit as design has changed with the Windstream building. You used to remember that there was a parcel here that was just the Midtown open space. There was a little plaza in the middle. And as we've moved forward and had some land on the south side of Windstream, it's really been decided over the course of the last year and a half or so to look at this space as all one space. And we've had a lot of feedback to make us do that through the Midtown Advisory Committee, the Open Space Advisory Committee. And so functionally, this space, while available for cars and traffic, is also going to be available to be closed completely and very flexible in terms of its use. There's two substantial components in this open space plan. One we call the Grove, and the other we call the Lawn. There's a reason that one has trees and one doesn't. This is above the parking garage, so a lot of tall trees just aren't going to be possible there. So this is going to be developed as much more of a public gathering space, small concerts, events, things like that, a place to go and have lunch and things like that. This will be a more shady space, a more intimate space, a place for hanging out. And in this section, we're really looking for kind of a substantial art piece. We want a signature art installation. We struggled with this particular aspect. At some point or another, everything has been here, right? We talked about a cafe, we talked about a visitor kiosk, we talked about just a little pavilion. And ultimately, it was decided that a real signature art piece was really the most substantial benefit that we could provide for the space. It's very key located. You can see it from the pedestrian corridor. It's online with the garage access. It's the center, and we wanted a vertical element in the overall design. So that was an important aspect. One more thing to point out is the street pattern, or the street paving will change. So where you see the gray, the light gray and dark gray, these will be pavers to help make sure the traffic is slow. There will not be curbs in this portion of the Midtown Plaza, just ballards. That way, this truly can become a plaza until of itself, and people walking around aren't tripping over curbs and things like that. It'll be really geared to the pedestrian. I've got a number of images that talk about different aspects of the open space. I know from in the back you probably can't see these very well, but if you go online, all these are available and you can really take a look. So on the right we have kind of a rendering of what we envision for the Midtown open space, and on the left we have a photo of a comparable open space. So here's the Grove, and here's a character image of the Grove, and I don't know what city that is off the top of my head. This is the Grove, a rendering as if you were sitting in it. There's a variety of paving and different textures for the ground, as well as a number of stone benches intermixed with trees. And this is a character image of what that grove might look like in a place that was comparably built. One of the interesting things is that from South Clinton in towards Midtown, there's substantial grade change, so you have to deal with that. There has to be some stairs, but it also has to accommodate for ways to get through the town site without stairs. So they've done that pretty well. This is the corner, the southwest corner of the Grove, and you'll see some stairs there, but they taper off as you go north, and they taper off as you go east. And this is a comparable character image of a situation that's similar to that. Another close-up of the image of the Grove with benches and a character image of that. We're really looking to make these places have a lot of variety in terms of places to sit or do things. On the other side, there's the lawn, a performance area. One thing to make clear is that this isn't huge. You know, people, I think, look at the open space plans and they think it's bigger than it actually is. This is a pretty intimate space. It's not going to accommodate party in the park or anything like that. This would be for smaller concerts, movies, events, farmers market here's a comparable image of another city having a movie night, which is something that I think is likely here. Another image of the performance space and a character image of that. This very much starts to look like what's being envisioned at Midtown. One thing to make sure that people understand is the open space in front of Windstream really is towards absolute final design. It's going with the streets contract that will be awarded and approved by City Council in January or December? January. This portion has a little bit more time to deal with design questions and issues because it's not going to a later contract. This is what they call the bridge, this section of how you might be able to get from west to east, and a comparable image of that in another community. And the pavilion. The designers really envisioned that the pavilion would be a flexible space. We envision movable tables and chairs during the summer. Could be stored in the winter. Could be used for performances, a lot of different things, a place to get shade, and a vertical element within the space. Here's another image of that where, people sitting in a comparable pavilion. The Plaza Street. Here's a kind of character image of a similar street. See, there's no curbs, instead there are ballards. This is a rendering of Midtown. There's been some discussion of color. I think overall the feedback in the general open space design has been very good. We've gone through a lot of iterations, we've had a lot of feedback, but then we start talking about color, and we will never all agree. A portion of the contract for the streets is the builder is going to provide 3 palettes that will be in a substantial way shown so that we can discuss the options with the Midtown Advisory Committee. Some people want them light because we live in a dark area. Some people want them dark because it's more rich. This is not something we're going to agree on, but at least we're going to keep our options open. This is an image of a pedestrian way between the Midtown Powder and Parcel 2. Again, this is above the garage, so it's difficult to do something substantial in terms of trees and things like that. So the designers have suggested in the middle where you have planters, you have vertical metal planter, vertical metal sculpture elements where the plants, vines and things like that can grow up, so that you have a vertical element and you have green that's beyond just the floor plate. Here's the public art. We're in no rush to choose the public art. We don't have an exact budget. We'd rather do something substantial as opposed to something quickly. So in the meantime, when Midtown is built out, it's likely that we'll have flagpoles or banner poles advertising the fact that there will be art there. But we really do imagine that it's better to wait, do grant writing, and we've done that successfully in many other areas of the city, to get that substantial art piece, it's, as opposed to get something done quickly. So there'll be a public art calling, as you've seen recently at Erie Harbor, for example. Another thing to note, I like, especially in groups like this, I like to make sure people understand that everything that you've seen is paid for. We know where the money is and we have the money in hand. In total, there's $107 million that has been spent on the acquisition, relocation, abatement, and demolition, all the planning and design, and the public infrastructure. We know where that money is coming from. Everybody has heard about the $55 million from the state, which really started this whole process off. So it's important to note that this isn't a project that we're planning. This is a project that's paid for. We'll also have a process for street naming. There are some historic streets that had been here before Midtown Plaza, and we're going to retain those names, such as Cortlandt Street. But there will be a couple streets and then the plaza that will need to be named. We're going to temporarily name one Road C. We'll have have to rename the pedestrian street, we'll have to come up with a name of that, and the plaza itself. Sometime probably in January, we're gonna go through a public process for street naming, or plaza naming competition. Here's the timeline. As I said, the truck tunnel is really underway. You can really see it. It'll be done in early 13. The garage gets underway in February of 2013. This summer, it'll be partially open to accommodate the Windstream opening, and it'll slowly kind of open as it gets completed through the beginning of 2014. The streets, again, start this spring. The ones around Windstream will be open, and then we'll open the streets and complete the streets as they are. And then the open space, again, begins this summer or spring so that we can have it underground or underway in coordination with the Windstream opening. And it has quite a long timeline because there's two components, as I pointed out. And I think that's it.